from time. There was a long VAR check, but the goal stood, and Chelsea get the away goal. Back to the Bridge on the 17th of March, but this, a terrific result for Thomas Tuchel's team.
Yeah, loved every second of that. That was well deserved, massively deserved for Chelsea there. Nobody had a bad game, tactics were absolutely superb, and comfortable, really comfortable. Can't wait for the second leg.
Looking forward to it. Before that, Manchester United at the Bridge on Sunday. Pat's going to join Joe and the gang for post-match reaction. Please stay tuned for that. But from myself and from Pat for now, thanks for your company this evening. It finished here. Atletico Madrid 0, Chelsea 1.
Welcome back to Matchday Live. A stunning Olivier Giroud wonder goal proves to be enough on the night. Chelsea take a 1-0 lead over Atletico Madrid to Stamford Bridge in the second leg in 3 weeks' time. Mark, Giroud, what a goal.
No, absolutely brilliant goal, wasn't it? Olivier Giroud's overhead. I think everybody thought it was offside. I think nobody thought for any moment that it came off Atletico Madrid player. Even the Chelsea players were seemingly confused, which was the thing about it that kind of surprised everyone. But then, as you see it in the replay a bit later on, you can clearly see it does come off the Atleti player, and what a finish. Giroud switched on, finished it, didn't know where he was necessarily, but fantastic goal.
Zach, I've always been a fan of VAR. Never criticised it at all, mate. I just think they always get it right. And
they do in the Champions League. The Premier League's a different issue. But the Champions League it's been used fantastically. Mate, I was buzzing. It was what a strike as well. To put it, Oblak's still not that far from it. To put it into that corner, really nicely well placed from him. And yeah, as Mark said, switched on. What a brilliant finish, and what a player he's turned out to be for us. £18 million, and he's always stepping up when we need him.
We alluded to his record in the pre-match show about his minutes per goal ratio in Europe, right? So some of the stats, genuinely, because I still don't think, and we had a post-match show after the Sevilla game earlier in the season when he scored 4, and I think it's the first time ever where we truly got to kind of give him the credit he deserves. For like you said, for a player that a lot of the time lazy opinion of him will be, he's a target man, he holds the ball up. Only Erling Haaland has scored more goals in the Champions League than Olivier Giroud this season. He's got 15 goals in 16 starts in European competitions for Chelsea. Just genuinely, like Pat, he is a phenomenon. And for a man that's 34 years of age, a lot of people are asking questions, does he need to move to get football elsewhere? Absolutely not. Olivier Giroud is a big player for Chelsea in the run-in, and especially in Europe.
We mentioned his age there.
there's an angle, and by the way, we'll see a million angles of that, but there's an angle which is a low behind from the other goal. The height that he gets up for that overhead kick and comes down is absolutely stunning. I mean, you do that when you're 18, you've got a sore back for a fortnight. And honestly, it was brilliant. Technique, and we know his technique's fantastic anyway. He had a game tonight where he just fought and he battled and he chased, and he hardly got a kick for long periods. Did he give up? Did he switch off? He chases down everything. There was a moment after it, I'm sure Mark was watching it as well, just about 5 minutes after he scored the goal. They've always played into Oblak. Now, Oblak just took it out of the air. It was an obvious Oblak will take that 999 times out of 1,000. But Olivier Giroud chased it in case it was that one time out of 1,000. And that's why he does it. That's why we love him so much. He will keep on doing it. Now, in actual fact, Olivier Giroud thought that was offside as well. But he still done it. Still kept on going. And when he walked away, he thought to himself, oh, that's offside. But he still did the right thing. And it's a classic object lesson to any player. Keep going. Keep doing it. And that might be the goal that gets this club into the last 8 because he keeps on going. He keeps on doing it. And he makes 100 runs. And 99 times they don't come to him. But he'll keep on doing it. And that is why, apart from all the technique stuff, that's why I love him as a football player. But it's not just Olivier Giroud tonight. I don't think there was one player who let himself down. And let's be honest about it. Chelsea were, by a distance, the best side. By a distance. And that's great considering we're a goal up and we've got them down here at a bridge back there behind me. It's great.
Great, isn't it? It's the 14th time that Chelsea have won the first leg of a knockout tie in the Champions League away from home. The previous 13 times they've qualified from that specific round. So it's a good sign. It's a good omen. And Mark, we said at half-time, perhaps you might not get too many clear-cut chances. I'm not in any way saying that was a clear-cut chance for Olivier Giroud to have to jump 6 foot in the air and swing it over his left shoulder. But when you do get half a chance against a goalkeeper of, elite quality in Jan Oblak, that's no mean feat, is it? You don't get many chances and you've got to take them. And that's exactly what Olivier did tonight.
No, yeah, you're right. And you don't get very many chances against Atletico Madrid normally, and you've got to take them. And he certainly did that. And that's the difference. That will be the difference. Like Pat was saying, that could be the difference in terms of whether Chelsea qualify for the next round or not. Yes, it's an away goal, but it's those defining little moments in games, that extra little bit of quality that Chelsea possess. I mean, interestingly, second half, they were a little bit slow to get going again, but that was more down to Atleti, I think, lifting their pace, their tempo, putting their foot down a little bit more. But then as the game wore on, they still controlled it for vast majority of the time. And I actually have to say, when N'Golo Kante came on, I thought Chelsea even took over more of the game. He just added that little bit more of energy, the athleticism in midfield, his breakdown of play. You've got to really watch this guy to understand and appreciate how good a player he is. I would be playing him, and I know, and it's not a criticism to Kovacic or Jorginho, I'd be playing him ahead of one of them because I just think he's so valuable for Chelsea.
Well, Zach, I mean, he's going to have a great opportunity because, Jorginho and Mount both suspended for the second leg through bookings today. And like Mark said, N'Golo Kante is not only a more than capable replacement, but we've all said this, we take him for granted because he's one of the very best in the world at what he does. And any team that starts N'Golo in is a team stronger for it.
Oh, 100%. I mean, for the opposition, it must be so difficult to play against a midfielder who's not only great at defending like we know he is always there, putting in the tackles, intercepting the ball, but being able to drive forward with that ball. He's got this kind of, it sometimes looks like he takes a bit of a heavy touch, but he does it on purpose so that he can lead onto it and drive forward with it and try and start off the play. And yeah, it's a shame that Jorginho and Mount aren't going to be available for the next game because they were fantastic today, both of them especially. But as you said, we've equally got players ready and fighting for the badge and ready to play in that next fixture. Kante, Havertz came on today. Actually, he was only on for a few minutes, but I thought he looked pretty bright too. So we've got a few games before that, so we've got to focus on them first. But yeah, it's not too bad.
Very true. And Pat, just on that Zach's saying there, Kai Havertz, great to see him back on the pitch. Same for Hakim Ziyech and Christian Pulisic. These are players that again, we've got at some point in the run-in, they're going to play a huge part for us because of the quality they possess. And especially with Kai, because, he's been injured and he's had COVID and it's such a difficult season to try and settle into. He's such a young player as well still. it's important to give him the time and give him the opportunity to win his way into the team, because his quality will shine eventually, won't it?
I'm not worried about him. Honestly, I'm not concerned. He's fine. He's going to be great. He's a superb player. What I've watched of him before he came to Chelsea tells me enough about him that technically he's top quality, top drawer, and in time he will be fantastic for us. It takes some players a little bit longer than others. When he's playing with the confidence bordering on arrogance that he's got, he'll be special for us. So don't worry about that. I'm happy with that. My concern is what we were talking about just a moment ago. We're going to have two sitting midfielders that we're going to need for this second leg. Kovacic, don't get injured. Kante, don't get injured. Right. And I know there's a couple of others we can put in there. And by the way, Reece James is one of them. We're really comfortable with Reece James being one of those two sitting midfielders there. Having watched him play at Wigan, he's spectacularly good in that position. But further forward than that and behind, not worried at all. I am so confident of what we can do against Atletico Madrid in the second leg. Really, really confident. My only concern, I have one concern with their team. Dembele can play. Dembele's a danger. But apart from that, Suarez, honestly, miles away from the player he was. I said beforehand, I didn't think he was the player he had been before. To be honest, all he wanted to do was create trouble tonight and niggle away and try and get other people in trouble. He was actually an embarrassment for a player tonight. I thought he was a disgrace, actually, as a football player tonight. Really, really annoyed by him tonight. But if that's the best that we've got to throw out of us, we've got every chance. If we play anywhere near our best, we're good through the next round.
Mark, obviously, I don't want to look too far ahead of tonight because it's a fantastic result, but it's only half time in the tie. And, and like Pat said there in Dembele, and we know how good Joao Felix is. But when Atletico now come to Stamford Bridge, what do you expect to see from them? Because I suppose we were all slightly a little bit taken aback by the defensive approach, but obviously they can't do that now. We saw them try and go a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more sort of offensive in the last 20 minutes when they're chasing the game. Do you expect to see it from the outset, or do you still think they'll be tactical and methodical and try and sort of, ease their way back into the tie?
No, I certainly think they'll start off on the front foot. I think they'll go for Chelsea. They've got nothing to lose. I think what they'll do is if they do get a couple of goals, then they'll revert back to the usual Atletico that we see. I know what Pat's saying. I thought Suarez was embarrassing at times tonight, trying to get players sent off, trying to, get players carded. I mean, that's the bad side of Luis Suarez again. However, I don't think you can run him off. I mean, he scored 16 goals in La Liga. I know he hasn't scored a goal in the Champions League as yet, nor even provided assist, which he's never done in his career so far. So in a season in the Champions League. So I don't think you can run him off. He's still got the quality to finish. Maybe the overall game, his ability to get, make those runs in behind is certainly not there as it used to be. And then around that 18-yard box, if a ball does fall for him, he still is ruthless. So you've got to be careful. But Chelsea obviously are in a very, very good position going into that second tie.
Zach, 8 games unbeaten now for Thomas Tuchel. We said before the show this was the start of a very difficult run where we'd learn a lot. And, I think quietly, it's easy to say after the game, but quietly, I think we all potentially thought that this would be the biggest test of the lot because, potentially these are the ones that defensively are going to ask most questions of us and even offensively are going to ask more questions of us than the other two potentially. Coming through this game now, how do you foresee Manchester United on Sunday and Liverpool next Thursday?
They're going to be difficult. People are writing off Liverpool, talking about them as if they're the worst champions ever and all that kind of stuff. But Liverpool are still a good team. They're going through one of the biggest injury crises I've ever seen a football team deal with, if I'm being quite honest. And their attack is still world class. Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane, Roberto Firmino don't just get bad overnight. They are still world class players who will punish you if you don't respect them enough. But they are beatable, as shown over the past few weeks. Manchester United is a weird one because personally, I don't think Manchester United have been great all this season, but they're second place in the league. Even when they're bad, they win games. They've got players who, again, will punish you. Rashford's brilliant. Bruno Fernandes at times is arguably player of the season at the moment. He's fantastic. And whether does he turn up in the big games? I mean, with Chelsea Football Club, when a player needs a goal or an assist to kind of back himself, it seems to come against us. However, I trust Thomas Tuchel. He's not only shown us how good he is at the moment throughout this season today, but he's also faced Manchester United earlier this season with PSG. He knows what to expect with them. He knows the players that they have. He's beaten them. He lost to them. So we'll see on Sunday.
It's definitely a massive tick beside his name for tonight, isn't it, for Thomas Tuchel? Mark, what have you made of the manager since he's come in? Because I think all of us from a passionate fan's point of view were so desperate for things to work with Frank Lampard that when a new manager comes in, there's a lot of pressure on him straight away, because not only is it Chelsea Football Club, but he's following Frank Lampard, someone that's so highly thought of and loved by the club and the fans. But I think, speaking as a fan's perspective, I think he's been such a breath of fresh air. He's spoken honestly and he's been brilliant. And, if you're 8 games unbeaten in your first 8 games as Chelsea manager, then that speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think he's been treading very carefully. So he's been very honest, like you said. I think he's been very controlled, very measured in what he's been saying, and very matter of fact. And I think he's allowed the football to do its talking. And I was wondering whether tonight's game was a couple of weeks too soon for Chelsea, and the revolution, the kind of the changing of a manager, the finding their feet. Chelsea were getting results, but not necessarily putting in fantastic performances, but they're building. And I was wondering whether or not Atletico, top of the table in La Liga, doing so well, is it going to take a little bit more time? Is it slightly too soon? Tonight proved it's not. And with each game, Southampton, Chelsea were not at the best, certainly not, but they still dominated play, still should have probably won the game on chances created. They seem to get better and better with each game. Tonight, the intensity level, the tempo which they play, particularly second half, I think without the ball, the work rate is exceptional. And I think the team play, so the organisation is far better than it has been. And that's improved dramatically over the last 6-7 weeks.
Absolutely. And again, it's been thoroughly enjoyable to watch. Tonight we could go on for forever on a night on the back of a result like tonight. We genuinely could, but that is unfortunately all from us this evening. There's plenty more to come on the Fifth Stand, including post-match interviews, which will be available on the Fifth Stand shortly. So do stay tuned for those. You can also see highlights of tonight's match from midnight, which worth staying up and watching again, aren't they? Friday afternoon, the boss will back facing the press ahead of a massive Premier League weekend. Then on Sunday, the big one, no hype needed, 3:20 Sunday afternoon. Join us for Matchday Live, Chelsea and Manchester United. And we've got a very special guest joining us as well. So make sure you join us for that one. What a result. What a night. Chelsea win 1-0 against Atletico Madrid. Bucharest is blue. Part 1 of our European job done. Thomas Tuchel's side are 90 minutes away from a quarter-final place in the UEFA Champions League, thanks to another Olivier Giroud piece of art. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your evening.